your main event. Introducing the hosts of Wrestling with Freddie, Jeff Dye, and Freddie Prinze Jr.
Mr. Jeff, how are you, sir?
I'm feeling good, buddy. How you feeling?
I'm good. You're back in town for a little while, or are you going back on the road?
Same schedule, you know. I'm gone on the weekends, back on the weekdays. I was just in New York. I was stuck in West Virginia for a day.
Yeah, I got family in West Virginia. Take it easy, pal.
It's a great place, but not much going on. A lot of woods.
Yeah. Comedy in the Woods was the name of the show you did.
It was like a corporate event, and they were like people. They treated it like Iraq. They were like, "Hey, thanks just for coming out here, man. We really appreciate you just coming out here. It really means a lot that you were willing to come all the way out here."
Can I ask a comedy insider question? And you can say I'm not answering that if you want to.
Yeah.
Do the corporate gigs pay better than the comedy clubs, or do the comedy clubs pay better than the corporate
corporates pay
gigs?
the best. Corporate and colleges, but I don't even know if colleges do comedy anymore, but colleges and corporates.
Colleges are angry at comedy nowadays.
I know.
They used to love comedy, but now they're very angry at comedy.
It's weird, too, because these college kids have Netflix. They'll listen to all the edgiest comedians, but if one comes to their campus, they're like, "Can you believe what he said? It was all bad and terrible and sexist and racist," you know, but like they'll watch like Pete Davidson or they'll watch like, you know, celebrities on Netflix do stand-up comedy, and they have no problem with it. It's very confusing.
You said it best, and Jimmy Carr has said it best. Your version was, "I'm sorry the way I tried to make you happy didn't work," which I love. It's just so simple. And Jimmy's is, "Oh, I'm sorry." And then when they go, "You didn't mean that," he goes, "Oh, so you acknowledge I can say things I don't necessarily mean."
I like that.
And I think those are the two, they're very opposite end of the spectrums, but they're the two best ways to defend comedy, which shouldn't need to be defended. Neither of these philosophies should have to exist.
Yeah, I don't like the way you tried to make me happy. That's what they say to me.
That's the joke. Yeah,
but it's also like, I always think about it like on Instagram. Someone like, I'll post like a video of my stand-up, or I think this goes for everybody, not just me. You'll post something on Instagram, you know, it's like, "I'm Freddie Prinze Jr. Here's you know, a thing I'm doing." And then if someone talks trash, you're like, "Dude, I'm sorry that you're not enjoying my free content."
I'll always get a couple people that'll just be like, "You look old, stay off Instagram." I'm like, "Yo, bro, take it easy, dude."
Why? I didn't sell it to you. You know, it's not like you paid $100 and you were disappointed with the product.
Like, bro, it's a miniature figurine that I painted. Take it easy, dude.
It's great. Exactly.
All right, let's talk some wrestling.
Yes.
There wasn't a ton that happened this week, but there are things that are worthy of conversation. The first and probably most important is the now defined Triple H era in wrestling, and its beginning. I think you and I have, and other podcasts have spoken about how it's been sort of the Triple H era for quite some time now. And every once in a while, Vince would kind of come in and try to undo everything in one episode of Raw that nobody would like. And everybody go, "Why'd that episode suck?" And then as like news comes out that he was, you know, still being involved once in a while, that sort of confirms those beliefs. You can kind of tell on commentary when Michael Cole's loose versus when he's tight. Go ahead.
Real quick, you know, the recently grumpy and bittered Ronda Rousey claims that as long as Bruce Pritchard is still in WWE, that means Vince will always be in it. So she was alleging that Vince is still giving stories and ideas and things to Bruce, and Bruce will be pitching them in during this Triple H era. That's what she was alleging. So what do you say to that?
Well, I have no idea. I mean, you can allege anything. I could allege Holly Holm, you know, was a better fighter than she was, but I'm not
fact check.
I'm not going to, but you know, she can. I think maybe she had a book or something, and maybe that's why she was, you know, saying controversial things. Maybe she's trying to sell something, or maybe she just doesn't like wrestling and wants to, you know, do damage to the business that she feels it's done damage to her. Maybe. I have no idea.
No, but I'm saying she's saying that Bruce Pritchard will forever be that link as long as Vince is alive. He'll be able to.
Even if that's true, Triple H is a really sharp guy, and if he doesn't like the idea, it's not going to make it to TV.
Okay.
And I think you can see that with the type of storytelling he's done. Everything has felt very much down the Triple H pipe, and not so much down the Vince McMahon 80s and 90s pipe. It's been much, or really just 80s. It's felt very different for months before WrestleMania, and hopefully will continue that way because I've really enjoyed it. They've had a couple misses, but so has AEW.
Sure.
And, it's the curse of live television. It's either going to go really well or it's going to die. Very rarely do you go, But let's talk about it. Triple H came out. He thanked the audience. He did his wrestler guy voice. His wrestler guy voice is so much cooler because he sounds tough like this. Normally he's like, hey, how you doing? And he's like, he has this super nice guy voice, but he does the tough guy voice. He introduces Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes is now the new face of the franchise, the face of the video game, the face of the new era. And they played a really nice video package for Cody that kind of showed his history in the company. And they even showed a little bit of Japan. They didn't show that he helped create AEW. They didn't show any of that. They still won't acknowledge them. But they did acknowledge Japan in one clip, I think. And I thought it was really nice and sweet and charming. And I thought Cody cut a really smart promo, not his best promo, but a very smart promo. And you got a taste of what you're going to get. But I'll say this. There's no story here, and there shouldn't be. They haven't had time to start a new story yet. So I think we need to give them time and trust them, since they did this last year and built it up for a year, and in one case, a 2-year story, to now allow these new storylines to develop that I'm sure they've been working on if this is, in fact, the Triple H era. What about you? You're not the biggest Cody Rhodes guy, I get the feeling. Are you liking him as champ? Are you not buying it?
I don't know what my problem is with Cody Rhodes. I feel like I pick a guy that I like, and then I just like them forever. And then the guys that don't really grab my attention that much, is very hard to win me over. But yeah, Cody's fine. I'm like right in the middle on him. He's good. I like it. Somebody had to beat Roman eventually, and this is the guy they picked. I will say this, speaking about the era thing, this Triple H era, gosh, they can't shut up about it, huh?
There's a lot of it. There's a lot of talk of trying to redefine the company. I liked it more when it was more organic and we were just seeing it. I guess I like it more when we say it than when they say it.
Because they keep saying it. It's in the press conference, they're saying it. It's in the opening of Raw, they're saying it. It's like, we really get it. There's a different era here. Do you think that in the past we even discussed the era that we were in?
No, that's what I was trying to allude at the beginning of the show, as we talked about his influence and how strong it was and how much more we were enjoying the stories months ago. Long before it was defined as it. But I guess like once Stephanie says it, then that's when it happens.
Yeah.
So it happened that it started on Saturday, according to WWE, even though it started before that. But they do change a lot of facts in their documentaries. I was a part of a few of them. They don't always get the right people. But yeah, so she said it on Saturday. So I guess that was the beginning, and we'll judge him from here. I thought we should have judged him from Bloodline forward for the last 2 years, because that was his story and that creative team's story. Not all credit goes to Hunter. They have writers working on that stuff nonstop. But yeah, man, I think it's going to be good. Like, we've already been saying, this is a renaissance for wrestling, a rebirth of wrestling. So wrestling's already been good, and I'm cool. Everyone's talking about the new era, and I guess we're supposed to talk about it, but I feel like we talk about it every week because we were already down with it. We already liked it.
I just wonder, do we have this changing of the era if the Vince McMahon scandal doesn't happen? Dude.
Well, that was the end of a chapter.
Are they really just saying Vince is gone? I mean, you can call it an era all you want, but it feels like they're really just saying, hey, things are they're going to, inevitably going to be different, which is exciting for fans.
Yeah, I think they're 100% saying that by just saying that it's a new era. But I think that's how all eras kind of begin and end, is there has to be some vanquishing of the old guard in order for the new guard to move in. It's the same in like the fight game, the same in basketball, when the young team isn't quite ready yet and get held down and the refs aren't giving them the calls because they're not the stars. And then eventually they're the stars and they're getting the calls. It's the same in wrestling, where you look at the guys that are going to be a champion. Cody was a homegrown guy. He came up in WWE. He left, but he came up during WWE. And they're always going to take better care of their homegrown guys then they're going to take care of the outside guys, right? Like we saw LA Knight is a self-made man.
Mm-hmm.
He is self-made. WWE did not make LA Knight. LA Knight made LA Knight. He made himself. So there was no chance he was going to beat Roman Reigns for the championship. WWE will claim credit for making Cody. I feel like Cody made himself outside of WWE. I think a lot of people would agree with that. But he is a face that they can say he's one of our guys. Like Roman was homegrown, one of ours. I think that's what, and I think it's subconscious, but I think that's why AJ Styles and LA Knight didn't get the story that all the other characters got, because all the other characters were homegrown guys and those two are not. And they got less attention, it felt like. They rocked their match. I thought their match was awesome, but I just didn't care about their reason why, because it was just one dude buying a plane ticket to Australia to wreck another dude's match. And then for the rest of that story, the dude who bought the ticket and wrecked the match is the victim because the good guy's doing a home invasion on it, basically. And this kid is in it. Like, it was just a weird, it didn't feel like it got the tender love and care that the other stories got. And those dudes, I felt, deserved a better reason why. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I will say it's a lot easier to push a guy who's been in wrestling forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got footage of these guys, running around as kids. I mean, like,
yeah, but it's not their footage, right? And WWE has this weird thing where it's like, if they don't own it, if they can't control it, it doesn't exist. I don't know why they insist on it, and I could be wrong. I'm just saying it feels that way. It feels like that's why the guys and the girls that aren't homegrown talent don't get the same love. They just don't get the same love. Does you feel that, or
I agree,
conspiracy
100%.
theory shit?
No, I agree with that 100%. It does feel like that. But it's like, if you imagine being a guy like LA Knight, though, he's going, what am I sorry that my dad didn't wrestle, who my grandpa didn't wrestle, who my mom didn't book, and my aunt wasn't involved, and sorry I wasn't at a wrestling school, like, when instead of daycare. It's like, you can't really do much when you just have a wrestling dream, and then these guys are just like in it. If I'd have told my dad I wanted to be a pro wrestler, he'd be like, what the hell's wrong with you? What are you, some sort of mental idiot, But like if Cody Rhodes tells his dad, I want to be a pro wrestler, they'd be like, yeah, Jack, we got you. You're going to be cool, Like,
yeah,
they'll make it happen, So it's just, I don't know.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying, though. It's just, it's weird. I don't know how we got on that. It's my fault that we got sidetracked, but yeah, it just felt weird. And it's been stuck in my, stuck in my head since I watched the match as to why I didn't like it. And it was because of the story. And I'm like, well, why didn't I like the story? And it felt like they didn't give it the same kind of care. And they could have. LA Knight is a friggin' star, and AJ Styles is a walking, talking, living legend. And they just deserve more. Anyway, let's talk some SmackDown, because a lot more happened on SmackDown. Paul Heyman, the man, the Hall of Famer, with Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. They came out, they discussed WrestleMania. Roman Reigns wasn't trying to blame anyone. He was taking full accountability, bloodline loss straight up. And then there's a little confrontation backstage and some talk of consequences. There's got to be consequences for this loss. They're not able to get into the champs' locker room now because they're not the champs anymore. It hurts, and you can see Sikoa's ego is really pissed off. Later in the show, Tama Tonga makes his debut.
It's a big
Tama
deal.
Tonga, the adopted son of Haku. We all know and love Haku. He's the friggin' man. If you watch Dark Side of the Ring, he was super funny on an episode lately. Tama Tonga made his debut, and there were consequences. They beat the hell out of Jimmy Uso. They beat his ass and put a chair around his neck and smashed him in the corner. And I'm assuming this is the end of Jimmy's involvement with the bloodline. I don't know where he could go from here. They can't damage the character and make him beg for his spot back, because that weakens the Jimmy character, who's already lost the WrestleMania match. So I think it means he's going to team back up with Jay. And there can be a Tama Tonga Solo Sikoa versus the Usos, who have reunited. Jeff, what do you think about that?
I think that this will go on my long campaign of stop having the bloodline fight inside themselves. I keep saying it every week, but it's like, why does this storyline have to be so civil war. Let's have some real wars. I'm tired of the civil war between the bloodline. It is cool to see a new member. I was doing my little nerd research when he came out and was like, everyone was going, oh, when he comes over, they'll probably put him in NXT. They'll probably make this guy have to, like, you know, cut his teeth a little bit before he just, is on. He's not just going to be right in the bloodline right away, the Tama Tonga guy. But then, no, he's in it. He's right in the bloodline, which I love. So I thought that was cool.
The Roman Reigns reaction will be interesting because then we'll know, is he in it or did Solo kind of go off and do his own thing? You've made this point before about the infighting that's going on. And I think there's something to that, man. As long as there's infighting, they can't be dominant.
Mm-hmm.
And when they were dominant, the story was really, really good. So there's no reason that their story needs to be done with Cody, but it is done. So who's next for the bloodline? That's the thing. And I guess I go back to what I say earlier. We have to give them time to come up with a new story.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope that they do something cool with it.
I feel like the bloodline should get a hall pass and get to skip school and not go to wrestling school. Like, they should be beyond that. So I hope they don't NXT any of the bloodline. And that should be a part of their story anyway. Like, when guys go back and wrestle, it's like, yo, it gives them something to be a heel about. Like, I'm better than you. Deal with that. Like, you're a scrub and I'm on the main show. I want to move to Wednesday night. We're going back in time. We're going to AEW Dynamite. Dynamite has not had the strongest of shows lately. This was not the strongest show either. However, Will Ospreay came in. We love Will Ospreay, or at least I do. I know Jeff does too.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, how could you not love him? The kid, he's a star.
Well, WWE didn't love him enough. And he went to AEW and he addressed in his promo this quote that Triple H had made on, I don't know what, ESPN probably, some sports network thing, about, if you're not up for the grind of the WWE, we don't want you. And he addressed the grind in his Will Ospreay way, coming off like Tom Hardy and Venom, but using his real accent instead of the American one, just coming off awesome, cool, smooth.
Took a dig at Triple H.
But he does it in this dignified way where he says, here's a painful jab, just to let you know I heard what you said, and now you can hear what I said too. He didn't instigate it. He responded to it. And I'm fine with people having any sort of response they want when they've been attacked or they feel they've been attacked, right? Like,
but also, don't you think that Triple H, his little jab wasn't at Will Ospreay as much as it was at AEW?
No, it was at Will.
No, AEW is a lighter workload. It really is.
Yeah, but it was.
That's why they're over there.
I think it was directly focused at Will Ospreay 100% because he had negotiated with them and he turned them down because they offered him an NXT contract. And so he's like, nah, dude, I ain't about that, man. Like, you're not paying me $70,000 for me to do my shit. Like, my stuff's worth more than that.
Yeah.
And he can make millions at AEW. And so that's why the jab was made, because Will had talked about, his love for AEW, why he chose AEW in an interview. And so that's when the little, you can't handle the grind. So I loved his comeback.
I loved it too.
I thought it was awesome. And I think comebacks are allowed and all bets are off when somebody's gone in on you. And I really do think it was directed right.
But I don't disagree with Triple H. When talk to any of these old dogs who went over to WCW, rest in peace, Scott Hall, but like talk to Kevin Nash, talk to Lex Luger, talk to Bret Hart. They were like, we're going to get more money and we don't have to travel as much and we get to, we don't have to work as often. That's better for our bodies. It's better for our families. It's better for our wallets. All of that's true. But yes, it's a lighter workload. Like, it is just 100%. In fact, they brag that it's a lighter workload. I think that, he's saying, oh, yeah, he wants the lighter workload. That's his dig. But it is also like, yeah, all you AEW guys have a lighter workload than what the machine is doing over at WWE.
By the way, pretty soon WWE is going to have a lighter workload because TKO's taken away a lot of the live event, the house shows that they do. So even his guys are going to. So that's another reason why I support Will and this, as far as these two characters going back and forth. And I do think it's character work. Everything that's said publicly is a work. He's doing that dig on purpose, in character. And I think Ospreay is smart enough to know that. So none of this is real. It's all everything.
Renee sold it good too.
Something.
Did you see Renee's face?
She's amazing though. Like she sells for everybody. Renee is awesome. She's the best announcer in the biz. She sells for everyone. She's also made, I think, the other talent around her better as far as the other announcers. Like they engage more. They have more of a reaction to things. But I friggin' love Renee.
Yeah,
she's awesome. Good. And I love that she did the WWE show with me, the Rival show as a panelist, and then left and signed with AEW, and they still had to air those episodes. That was mad funny.
She's so good too, because guys like me are always going, is this real? Was that real? Was that a work, or is this real? Like I'm always wondering and hoping that things are real, even though most of them aren't. And Renee's really good at making me think things are real. I'm like, oh, look at her face, dude. She's so uncomfortable because this is real. It's like Renee sells like a mother.
Speaking of uncomfortable, they chose to air the CM Punk and Jack Perry closed caption footage.
Cringy as hell. So cringy.
Like Adam Copeland took care of it. He cut a promo the week before and said, look, man, wrestling's awesome. This is nonsense. People are shitting on people that don't need to be shit on. We all have jobs. Be quiet. Like, just chill. And that was good. That's all we needed. It didn't need to go this far. And I'll give them this, and I'm not even giving them this. They at least tried to wrap a story around it, but it didn't work. Yep. It didn't work at all, and it came off so uncool. And I hate that. I hate that because I don't want any wrestling getting made fun of. And I don't want wrestling looking bad. And that was like 5 minutes of time that someone else could have got over. Like you could have given someone a match, and in 5 minutes, it's more of a squash, but you could have made somebody look great in that moment. You know what I mean? Like Wardlow could have gone out there and killed somebody.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just thought it was a wasted opportunity and a big swing and a miss. But they took a swing. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, if you want to capitalize on that backstage footage, well, because, like, when a real little scrape happens like that backstage, which we saw, like once we seen the footage, it doesn't look nearly as dramatic as what they show us every week as scripted backstage conflicts. So visually, it's just not as stimulating because we're going, that's it? It was nothing. It looked like absolutely nothing. And it especially looked like nothing compared to what wrestling depicts every single week. So it was cringy that they were like, tried to make this weird storyline. It was cringy that they even wanted to air it. If you want to capitalize on that kind of stuff, be like, look, Real has entered the building of wrestling, then you got to do that the same week CM Punk is there. When we were all gossiping, like, let's see what happened back there. I heard that he really hit somebody. Like, you've got to capitalize on it then.
If you're going to air it, you might as well air it then. Yeah.
It's
I hear you on that.
Crazy. And it's like CM Punk must just be at home going, what? Like, why would they even do this? Like, it just makes him look desperate.
You know who's sitting at home is Jack Perry because all his gear sold out.
Yeah, I heard that.
Moment they aired that. He's sitting at home going, thank you very much. He's the one person who benefited from them airing the footage.
Also,
no one else did.
The way Jack Perry like put his hair to the side and like was speaking to CM Punk like in the little footage made me go, I bet that smartass just said something right there that I would have punched him for too. Like the way he's like looks at him like kind of like I was like, I bet he just said a little thing right there. Whatever that is, like I like something that just made CM Punk hit his breaking
I just know that they both had enough with each other. And this is just going off what CM Punk said on Ariel Helwani. It sounded like they both just had enough of the other's personality and the other's style and philosophy on wrestling. And when you keep people like that together, it's going to come to a head, man. They're both artists and they're both going to be hot-headed and set in their ways because that's what got them to where they are. And they're not going to, if you're not willing to change and evolve, that kind of shit's going to happen, man. If there's not going to be an open-mindedness on either side, that kind of shit's going to happen. But I didn't think anybody got over with this. I didn't think the Young Bucks got over with them being attached to the story. I didn't think the story they tried to attach to it got over. I was wrong. I didn't think Jack Perry would get over, but he got over like a mug, sold out everything. I didn't think it made CM Punk look good. I didn't think it made anybody look good except Samoa Joe, who broke it up. He's the only guy that came out looking like a professional.
Oh, yeah. The whole thing was pretty bad. Last time I checked, it had more dislikes on YouTube than likes.
Oh, I didn't even know they still did dislikes.
Yeah, more
I thought that
people
was hurting
thumbs
people's
downed
feelings.
it. Yeah, more people thumbs downed it than liked it. Let me check.
Well, I'm glad they still have the dislike thing and didn't get rid of that. I heard they were getting rid of that because it like hurt people's feelings. And I was like, oh my gosh, man, like let people have their feelings hurt when they're young and working life out so that when they're older, they can deal with how rough life really is. It's so much harder than a like or a dislike thing. But yeah, man, at the end of the day, I really thought they shouldn't have aired it. That was, like I said, it was 5 to 7 minutes where you could have had a good match.
I wonder if
and
they
showcase
regret
what your company's all about.
I wonder if they regret putting it up.
I don't know. It's just one. Does one person regret it? Does Tony Khan regret it? Because he's the one making these final decisions. He's the one running everything, or at least that's how it's presented.
Yeah.
So I just feel like I wish he had someone there that he respected. Right? He would have to respect them, who could check some of those decisions before their decisions and say, "Well, hold on. Let's think about how this looks outside of what we're going through right now." And if it doesn't benefit the business, maybe let's not do that. And then he could take a moment and be like, yeah, I think you're right. Let's not do that. But I don't know if that person is there to protect him. If he's literally doing everything, that's too much. And he needs somebody there to help get his back on something, whether it's creative, whether it's social media, something. You can't be the boss of everything, man. It'll eventually cause you to suffer. We ask the audience each week to leave us reviews, and we'll pick some of the best ones and we'll read them live on the show, and we're keeping our promise. I have not read this. This is not rehearsed, so if it's a mean one, it's a mean one, Jeff. You just have to be ready.
We don't mind.
All right, here we go. Well, no, look, I see it. It's already starting off good, unless they're psyching me out. If they are, they got me.
Could be a big swerve.
It says, good luck, Freddie. I wish you nothing but the best. You deserve it. Oh, this is a nice guy one. The way you and Jeff speak with so much passion for the business does not go unnoticed.
Nice.
I appreciate you very much. So does Jeff. All right, you guys, listen, stay tuned for Unsanctioned Thursdays. That's tomorrow. We're going to talk a little bit more about the journey a lot of it, actually, about my journey selling the show. A lot of new things have happened. No changes, but good things have happened, and we'll get into it then. On behalf of the great one, Jeff Dye.
Yes.
I'm Freddie Prinze Jr. We'll see all of you guys tomorrow.
This has been a production of iHeart's My Cultura podcast network. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.